My name is Ryan Dial. I'm a citizen of the Lumbee Tribe, North Carolina, and I serve as our program manager for our Southeastern American Indian Cancer Health Equity Partnership, or SAICEP. We're in collaboration with the White Ribbon Project. It's dedicated to raising awareness about lung cancer. Originally, prior to contact, tobacco is one of our few sacred herbs. And when we say it's a medicine, we really mean that in a lot of different dimensions. So it's a physical medicine to reduce infection and to heal physical wounds. And some of those traditions have carried on even to modern generations. A lot of our grandparents and elders in our community still recognize it as a medicine. But it's also a spiritual medicine of sorts. So tobacco has a big use in the spirituality of many native cultures as a method of prayer and used during ceremonies. So traditionally, tobacco has been used to bring smoke up to the Creator and carry our prayers. So tobacco has a lot of uses in American Indian communities as a medicine long before it became in its commercial form and now a cancer risk factor. You can see many different examples of pipes used for ceremonies, but they weren't smoked in the traditional sense that we think of as like cigarettes. Pipes were just a method of bringing smoke into one's mouth, and that represented kind of it catching the prayers, and then it was immediately breathed out so that your prayers could exit your body and go to the Creator. It's also important to note that the tobacco that we have common here today is a domesticated form, and its original form was a lot different. It was on average a lot smaller. So, like many crops, it was domesticated to increase yield and increase nicotine content. It didn't really have the same properties. It wouldn't have had the same effect as commercial tobacco, as commercial tobacco was bred for that purpose, and that's what led it to become a cancer risk factor. It's also common to make medicine pouches to keep certain medicines close to us, but typically for our tribes here in North Carolina, tobacco was a common component of that medicine pouch, so keeping that medicine close to us at all times. It's also very common to see tobacco being given as a gift to show respect to our elders and to our peers. When we ask of something, we reciprocate that with providing one of these ceremonial herbs. There's a lot of diversity of thoughts and philosophies about medicines, particularly tobacco, with many tribes. There are many parallels, though. Even if there's differences in kind of how it's used and its practical use in ceremonies, it's still always seen as something sacred, because in many of the creation stories, it's seen as a gift from the Creator. All medicines and plants and animals are seen as gifts from the Creator. But some parallels that you see in these creation stories are it coming directly from the Creator. And in all these creation stories, it's always a medicine. So the Creator planted this seed that would eventually become the first medicine. And as it grew, it pulled the bad medicine, the pain, out of Mother Earth, and it formed these large golden leaves that then were left for the two-legged, the human, to use as a medicine as well in many different facets. So that's just one story, and there are many others, but kind of the parallels you see are that it's always a gift and it's always intended to be used to heal. Yes, it is very much a cancer risk factor when used in that non-sacred intent. When cigarettes and commercial products and vaping, it causes a lot of harm to our people. I mean, it's known now that American Indians in North Carolina and across the country have very high rates of lung cancer due to the fact of very high rates of cigarette use and commercial tobacco use. So that's something that we can't ignore and that very much needs to be addressed because it is killing our people. We also have to acknowledge that while it does cause harm as a cancer risk factor to our people, that's not its original use and that's not its only function in our communities. It originally was a tobacco for thousands of years before its use changed and flipped to harm our people. It was a spiritual medicine, it was a physical medicine, and I think understanding in our communities that original purpose is how we can start to mitigate its cancer risk factor in our communities.